the way that I love can go.
Turn that shit up. I was on 145th Uptown on Lennox and Crowns trying to order some fries. And a bunch of rude dudes from the east side rolled up curbside. Looks like a drive-by, but the dark-skinned one hops out. No doubt any moment he might pull a trigger. Constructs antiques in a white beater. Look at those six-packs on a nigga.
What is up, lads, and welcome back to episode number 6 of Eto'o's Road to Glory. And there at the start was just a couple of little goals I scored in the episode. They're not the greatest goals. It was to an Elijah Banks track, if you were wondering. It's quite a sort of sick song. I'm sort of into a lot of her music at the moment. I'll try and leave a link in the description where there's this channel where it's got pretty much all the songs on. So yeah, guys, in this episode, it's a pretty fun-packed episode. There's loads of goals, sort of loads of controversial decisions, especially in the second game. The second game was an absolute epic game. It's one of the best sort of gameplay footages I've edited on a FIFA sort of commentary. Loads of sort of highlights, goals and all that crazy stuff. First game was against this guy. I think he had a French League One side. He wasn't the greatest player, to be perfectly honest. You know, he looked like he was building. I think he only had 3 at the back. I'm not entirely sure. I didn't really see that. But yeah, I won the game quite comfortably. You know, I took an early lead, obviously, and then he got one back, which was, you know, a little bit disappointing. But I do go on to win the game. But that's not what I want to talk about, guys. What I want to talk about, obviously, the European Championships start today. First game is Poland against Greece. And then later on tonight is Russia against Czech Republic. That was a bit of a fail, and I nearly forgot. But yeah, what I want from you guys is sort of a free treble predictions. What I want is, who do you think is going to win the tournament? So I want your predictions, who's going to win it. And secondly, I want your prediction on who's going to be sort of a player of the tournament, who's going to have a good tournament, who's going to stand out, like as an individual. And thirdly, I want sort of like a surprise package, who you think is going to sort of overachieve and surprise, you know, people in what team that is going to be. So I'll give you my predictions on the tournament, guys. I think that the who might win it, I'm going to go with France. You're probably not really surprised at that, but yeah, I'm going to go with France, obviously. I think they're going to win it. I think they're peaking at the right time. I do believe they're on a 20-odd game unbeaten run, which is in competitive and non-competitive games, which is, you know, pretty good achievement. So I think they're in good form, and I think, you know, Spain are a little bit, you know, they're a little bit tired, and I think Spain are going to miss David Villa, especially in the big tournament games. He's a big player. Germany, you know, they'll be contenders. You know, you can never write the Germans off in competitions like this. But, you know, I'm going to go for France. I want your predictions as well in the comments. And I think for the player of the tournament, I'm going to go with Benzema. I think he's going to have an absolute sort of stormer of a tournament, and I think, you know, he's coming in a good form. I think he scored 2 goals the other night against Estonia. So, you know, when I say Estonia, not exactly the stellar opposition, but, you know, he scored goals, and that's what it's about. And I think he's going to have a good tournament. He's going to score goals. He's going to link up play really well. So yeah, guys, that's my sort of predictions of that. And what I want is sort of surprise package. And my surprise package of the tournament is going to be something from Group A. And I was kind of sort of debating who to choose, but I'm actually going to go for Poland, because they're at home. You know, they've got some decent players, and this is the game here, which I was just on about a second. But yeah, guys, Poland, I think, is going to be a surprise package. I think if they can beat Greece in the first game, then they'll have a really good chance. But I think if they fail to beat Greece, then they might not do as well as they could. But I think if they beat Greece, they will do really well. And this is the guy's team. He's got a pretty sick team. Brazilian, you know, it's a lush team. He's got, you know, inform players. He's got Neymar. He's got Dede in defence. Solid team. 4-2-3-1, which is what I always struggle with. Don't know what it is. I think it's the midfield I get overrun, especially when I haven't got sort of stellar midfielders. And this is the decision here. Like, I scored the goal and I was like, okay, that's good. But then when I was playing, I was like, is that over the line? And I've kind of like sort of zoomed this in, which is like the height of my editing skills, and it was kind of, from looking at it, it doesn't look over the line, but I think it looked like it was handball, and so it would have probably been a penalty anyway. But they give me the goal, but you'll see a decision later in the game what possibly evens it out. We'll have to wait and see about that. But this game was absolutely epic. He was a really good player, arguably probably a better player than me. You know, he arguably had a better side, but he did play really well. You know, some of his finishes were clinical. He was really good on the skill moves. He was pretty much the complete player. And then my defending was heroic. Like, it was just terrible. You know, I've practically given 2 of the, you know, the first goals. Nice little finish there by Lucas, and I think he had the inform Lucas, which is a nice card. I was trying to sort of like contain against him, but it just wasn't working. And there's my goalkeeper just flapping at that. He was just poor. I think I'm gonna pick up the 84 rated Russian fella. I forgot his name, but yeah. And then he makes it was 3-1 to him, and then he makes it 4-1 in the 27th minute, which was, it was just, it was demoralising at this stage. You know, I thought, oh, bloody hell, here we go, you know, I'm going to get absolutely hammered live, yeah. on record for Road to Glory, which would have been an absolute fail. Then he made it 5-1, and I was thinking, oh shit, this is not going well. And then luckily for me, he kind of loses the ball. I sort of rob him of possession with a dodgy pass from him. Nice little ball in there. Danny just out muscles Azevedos, probably because he's a goal and he's got better physical sort of stats. Generally, he's got better card. Nice little finish, you know. In this part, I thought, you know, right, I can get back into this. You know, there's a chance. And I think this is half-time comes. I'll show you the half-time stats. You know, the first half he did absolutely dominate. You look at the possession, the shot. You know, he completely. You know, he was in front fairly. You would say. You know, you had more of the game and stuff, which is, you know, fair enough. I can accept that when someone's a decent player. You know, look at the stats. He had more possession, more shots, but I kind of let him have the possession as such. But foolish mistake from his defender there, and a nice little flick from my sort of. I think it was Tardelli or Danny. It was Danny, sorry, and Martin's have a nice little cute finish just past the sort of the goal. Keep it out, muscle defender. I think this is the goal that was in the initial video at the start of the nice little bit of music. Danny there for a little fake sort of like Rolo? Is that I was made that up? A fake Rolo? Sure, that's like a chocolate, yeah. But Danny there for a nice little finish, and that was 5-4. At this point, you know, I was getting in it. I really believed I was coming back. And then he just was being absolute cunt. He was passing it around his defence for about a good 10-15 minute period, and it was quite frustrating. And I couldn't get the ball back, and it was really annoying, to be perfectly honest. But then I had a nice little shot, hit the post, whips it back in, and then Eto'o there, nice little finish. I thought it was equalised. I thought it was 5-5, but no, Martins was offside. It was slightly, it was offside, but it was, you know, it was quite unlucky. Him there. You know, he comes on the attack, his first attack in a while, and he gets a corner, and to be honest, I didn't think it was a corner. I'll show you it again. I don't think the full ball was over the line. You can't really tell from that angle, to be perfectly honest, but I don't know, I don't think it was over the line, but you could argue my initial goal shouldn't have been a goal, so you know what goes around comes around, I suppose, and he scores with the header from dead A. I muscled my goalkeeper was poor in this game, and then he gets another one of the name on, that pretty much sealed the game, but I do believe I get one back, a nice little individual sort of move by Danny, slots it to Martins, and Martins is not going to miss from there. Nice little side to side, and just puts it past the goalkeeper. You know, I thought I had a sniff at this chance, but I didn't have a sniff, and that was how the game ended. It was a pretty epic game. You know, 5-7 is a quite ridiculous scoreline, to be perfectly honest. But I thought, you know, maybe on another day I might have won it. It was just slightly a bit unlucky. If that Eto'o goal wasn't offside, then, you know, could have went a different way. But I thought, you know what, let's go straight back into a game. That was actually my first loss of the series. My record's been quite good. I was slightly surprised. He's got a championship side. I think he's got a Kevin Nolan. He's got a Beckford as well, which, you know, he's a dangerous player. You know, he always causes a threat against him. There's Martins with a lovely finish, left foot, powered it, just nice little, just like pinged it. I think that's the technical word I'm going to use. He absolutely pinged it past the goalkeeper. And yeah, then Beckford there, like I said before, you know, he's got pace to burn. Look at him, he's absolutely destroyed my defence with pace. He was just quite crazy how quick he is. In real life, he's fast, but his finishing, it's not like that, you know. And I think in the next FIFA, they should sort of like tame down like Beckford's or Bangalores. They should just make the finishing terrible. Because, you know, like in real life, they're good players, but they're not like as good as they are on FIFA. They're completely just like overrated, if you know what I mean. They're just like, they play like crazy good, like for their ratings and stuff, just because they're fast, basically. And there's Eto'o there for a nice little free kick. I like scoring free kick goals. I don't really score many of them. I don't think I've scored one yet in this series. I might have, I'm not entirely sure, but that was a nice one again. Martins there, just a simple finish, you know, just running in, using his pace. And nice little finish. It's quite ironic I'm complaining about Beckford when I've got like Martins up front, but yeah, I suppose that's the way it goes, really. And there's Tardelli, a nice little pass in to Martins again. In this position, Martins is not going to miss, just a little finish, you know, kills the game in the 75th minute. And that was the episode, guys. From the episode's coming to a close here. I do believe I got a couple, maybe one more goal. But yeah, guys, if you enjoyed the episode, leave a like. I'll try and leave my what? I'll leave my Twitter in the description. That's what I'm trying to say. And yeah, guys, I'll have a video out on Saturday, and obviously there's loads of football over the weekend. The Euros is on, so we're going to be able to talk about that and all that good stuff. So yeah, guys, remember, leave your sort of thoughts on the Euros in the comments. Leave your predictions on sort of like player of the tournament, who's going to win it, and the surprise package. And yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed the trading episode, which was out yesterday. I made quite a lot of coins, and I'm currently sort of doing the next episode, and that should be fun. I should have that out on Sunday for you guys, so that'll be something nice to look forward to. This is the team there at the end. I'm just sort of, what is up, guys? That might actually cut out there just before the end of the video, but I'm not going to redo it because that would be crazy. So yeah, guys, this is the episode coming to a close. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will have the trading video out on Sunday morning about 10 o'clock. So yeah, guys, peace and have a good day.